Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at player props here for you guys on the Thursday night slate of one game in the NBA. The Lakers and the Dubs are back in Golden State for game 2. We have a best bets video up for you guys, so make sure to like and subscribe to that page. You can also check that out and also head to thelines.com. That is our site where we're putting up all the great content for you guys. And you can use our odds finder tool on there. Super important. Make sure that you are getting the best odds available to you with all these books giving us bets in the NBA this postseason. We don't yet know how we did on our props for Wednesday night as we get ahead of these lines, recording on Wednesday, day before the Thursday game here that we are talking about. So we'll get back to you on that, but let's jump right into your first NBA player prop, Nate.
Yeah, I'll take the bait, FanDuel, for LeBron to go under 1.5 threes. They're giving you plus 188, which is crazy because it's happened in 5 of his last 6 games. He is shooting 6 for 41. That's good for 14% in those 6 games, including 3 for 21 in the second half of these games. I will also throw out under 31.5 points and assists for Bron in those 6 games. He's averaging 27 of those combined, just 5 dimes. On the road in these playoffs in particular, just 4 dimes per game, 21.5 points. And he's shooting 18% from 3. He's got a foot that needs a surgery operation, and clearly that's affecting his ability to shoot from the perimeter much more than it is his ability to drive or block or continue to leap, where he is still impacting the game for sure. But he's made no bones about the fact that this is AD's team now, that AD is going to carry them in this series in particular. And even when he was like peak LeBron, is 2 threes really like a guarantee? I mean, it was his average so far with the Lakers. He does average 2 threes a game at just 33% in the playoffs. Not particularly impressive there. Is in game 1, he played 40 minutes, had a 31% usage rate, still only got you 22 points. And I know it disappointed Josh. Josh was calling that he was going to bring it in game 1 on the extra rest, and he still couldn't muster the energy to drop 30. Not that that's like incredibly easy, but like, he's dealing with Draymond most of the time. In the second half in particular, he just still didn't have the legs. He had 0 assists. He went 4 for 15 from the field. And AD, you brought them home along with some other guys. Like, there's enough depth on this team. We've been talking about it all playoffs. Now the Lakers made some moves for LeBron to defer when he needs to, and he's conserving his energy very clearly. He's hoping that they can navigate these playoffs without using his bullets, as his old friend Brian Windhorst terms it. He's got like 7 bullets in the gun. He's got 7 games where he can fire off. And I don't think game 2, when you're already up 1-0, is going to be the game where LeBron goes off.
Agreed. That's my Brian Windhorst. Yeah. So I'm with that. Like, it was brutal to watch him go 1 for 8 again, as he continues just his impressively awful shooting. And I just want to I'll say this again at some point, I'm sure, but right now, as we're recording this, the Nuggets and the Suns are at 2-0. You got to kind of be looking ahead to conserving your energy if you're these teams, if you plan on making it through a series at high altitude with a rested Denver team that looks like it can just throw 7 really good NBA players and 2 very good ones. Anyway, moving past the Denver point, because it'll come up again, I'm sure, as just an added point that we get to make about why things are going to be going under. Guys might be resting in strategic places for either or both of these teams, but especially the Lake Show. So, for LeBron to go under 2 threes, like, yeah, man, I would take the bait as well. Like, how baity is it for real? For him to hit 2 of them is just something he does not do. We're both in alignment. If you saw the best bets video, I'm going under with LeBron's assists on one of them. I'm even boosting. It's like 5.5 for him, but I'm boosting it up a bit. And to take the crappier odds in a parlay for him to go under 7 in that one. And yeah, the 31.5 points and assists, like for him to get 25.5 points still feels like a pretty good under with his inability to shoot combined with how much energy it takes to get a bucket for him and the assists for him, which we talk about take plenty of energy themselves. So I am going to go back to Klay Thompson unders, 23.5 points. You get better juice after he put up 25. we were texting right before the fourth quarter because he had a really good third quarter. Once again, he had 16, by the way, in the first half of the last game where we were trying to go over 22.5 on him. He ended with 22 by scoring 6 in the third and none in the fourth. This last game was basically the exact same scenario. Had 22 going into the fourth, only made one shot, and happened to be a three that got him over. What have you took him at 22 or 23? But that's where his prop is going to remain, and it's getting a little bit better now at 23.5 to go under because of the fact that he just did what he did. He hit 6 threes. He's got to hit that many threes to get over his prop, by the way, at this point. Like, if he doesn't hit 5, he's not getting 25 points, right? And so I think he's a good bet to hit 3 consistently and still go under his points prop at 22 or at 23.5 points. I can basically just kind of read off what I wrote in my article the last time, and I'll continue to talk about it. But in his last 30 games in the playoffs dating back to last season, he's averaging 19.5 a game on 42% shooting in 36 minutes, which he played last night, or 37 minutes. Hardy usage rate of 23%. He's also only gone over 22 or points 7 times. It actually goes down if you talk about 23.5 points, where it's at right now, meaning less than a quarter of his playoff games. So I'm just going to continue to fade him in these situations. Like, the numbers are going to be there for me to consistently get him under 22.5, under 23.5 as a player who is overjuiced because of the fact that the books know our memories of Clay are just heroic Clay who can just do anything and make any shot from anywhere. It's just not the case anymore. So if this game goes 7 games, if this series goes 7 games, and his points props at 22 or 23.5 points in each of those games, I'm going under to probably hit at like a 4 or 5 out of 7 clip.
Yeah, I appreciate you sticking to your guns. I mean, don't get shook just because it didn't hit one time. It's not like he blew up like Harden did on you the other night either. He just, he crept over it.
Harden put me in my place.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, if you're going to bet over on Clay's points, like Josh is saying, just bet over on the threes. Like, he's going to need 5 or 6 threes to get 25 points these days. Like, he's not getting it done in the mid-range, certainly not driving all the way to the hoop in this series with AD lurking there. And the Lakers are kind of, living, playing with fire to a degree by packing it in still against this Warriors team and letting guys like Clay shoot and seeing if he's going to hit enough to beat them. And so that's why I'm going with Draymond's assists here to get 8 assists for Draymond plus 115. I don't mind going up one more from that too at more like plus 160 for 9 assists. As Josh pointed out to me, he had 7 dimes in that first game. The Warriors had 30 as a team, which is already kind of low in terms of percentage. He's about like a 31% assist rate guy with the Warriors. But he had 21 potential assists in game 1 because of the Lakers' strategy and because Draymond's the guy facilitating everything, not really looking at the basket as per usual. He had under a 13% usage rate at home this season, where he averages 7 dimes. And averages about 8 rebounds per game. I think you can parlay the two together in terms of rebounds, assists, but the odds are worse. And Looney and AD are just vacuuming every single rebound right now. So I think the assists is where you look at with Draymond anyway. He is the facilitator, and that's how he impacts the game. After a loss in the playoffs, he has at least 7 assists in every game except the one he was ejected in game 2 against the Kings. And, in the regular season against the Lakers, he only 6 assists, but he only played 28 minutes per game. This is the last 2 years against the Lakers in the regular season. So the stakes have not been high enough for him to do that like they have in these playoffs, where he averages 8 dimes per game at home in these playoffs. And the Lakers on the road giving up the 6th most assists per game. So game 1 is kind of indicative of what we should see in terms of the Dubs getting around 30 assists. And if you just follow the numbers, Draymond should have close to a third of those assists. He should have 9 or 10 as long as guys hit shots when he feeds them.
Yeah, we like them to win. I can still take an under, and Draymond can get his assists because the Dubs do, score like the second highest percentage of their points in the league off of assists, assisted field goals. Like, they're not really scoring in one-on-one situations. They don't have one-on-one players. I mean, Steph is that, but he still gets the benefit of screens, whether he's coming off them with the ball or not. So, I continue to feel that way. I mean, they shot 53 threes in that game. So that's going to be a good amount of those potential assists, right? For coming from Draymond are going to be on those threes, and Poole and Curry and Clay, all hit plenty of threes on pretty good percentages. Like both two of them over 50%. I definitely don't want to continue to believe in Jordan Poole, but I think Andrew Wiggins is gonna have to play better, and he should. They got to be able to get him a bit more from the dunker spot, sort of coming in off of when he's coming in on the baseline to catch an alley-oop from Draymond. They got to implement that a bit more, as they haven't had anything like above the rim at all, especially as Wiggins has gotten his legs back under him. But we'll see how that goes for this one. I think Draymond's still a decent bet. For at least the 8 there, and the 9 is getting even a little bit riskier for the juice. But I'm gonna close things out with a pick that you actually put me on by just sort of throwing it out there, and then I was looking into it, why you were thinking that, and I think I found why. Talking about Jared Vanderbilt, over 11.5 points and rebounds, and it's really good juice at pretty much even money, -102 on FanDuel. Just needs to stay out of foul trouble. Talked about it in why this game should go under if he does. When he's on the floor in the playoffs, they have a 100 defensive rating as a team. When he's off the floor in the playoffs, they have a 121.5 defensive rating. Very crucial to the team defense, obviously. And it was pretty obvious he was always going to be the guy to guard Steph. You need a bit of length. He's that sort of Tony Allen type, actually a bit bigger than Tony Allen. That is the type of guy to put on Steph, who can just fight through screens, doesn't even feel them, blah blah blah. So the minutes are going to be there for him if he can just stay out of foul trouble. And he couldn't do that in game 1. And he still got there in that first game. But, the 12 points of rebounds is basically where he's at on the playoffs. It's just look at the difference in when he has 3 or less fouls versus when he has 4 or more fouls. In 7 playoff games, he's averaging 3 fouls a game. In the 3 games that he had 3 or less fouls, he averages 16 points and rebounds combined, because he gets out there for like 7 more minutes. In the other 4 games where he had 4 or more fouls, he's averaging 6 points and rebounds per game, which was highly distorted by a 1 rebound 0 point effort that he had in like 18 minutes against the Grizz. And that's the type of stuff you would expect from him if he's going to be doing that, because they know they need his defense is equal to any offense, if not greater than, in terms of importance, than any offense that they might get from Schroeder and D'Lo. So he's got to be out there. And Austin Reeves has already been shown that he's going to be getting 37 to 40 minutes in each of these games, closing out lineups and on the floor as much as possible for them. He's guarding Clay, did a pretty good job guarding Clay throughout that game as well. So that's where he's going to be at. But with Jared Vanderbilt as the other matchup, like, they have their matchup set. And if he's on the floor, 12 points and boards for him is something like, give him 6 or 7 boards if he doesn't get 4 or more fouls, in which case he only needs 4 or 5 points that you can feel pretty good about.
Yeah, I think that's why I would actually just go with the rebounds, right? If it's like slightly plus money for him to get 6 boards, that's just a matter of playing time. And also, I don't expect AD to have 23 again. We talk about Looney and AD both doing that. I think there's going to be some positive regression for other guys, getting involved in terms of the boards as those two guys cancel out a little bit more, or just the way the ball bounces and the amount of threes the Warriors are taking, and the fact that we're talking under here, there should be available rebounds for sure. There just weren't that many in game 1 because some crazy stuff was happening. But JV still got these numbers, right? And he was out there clearly doing a pretty good job on Steph. So that's earned him more playing time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Steph was much better in towards the end of the game there than he was earlier in it when JV was on the floor. So can we call him JV? Has he earned just us doing that? I just don't feel like saying Vanderbilt every single time. So yeah, we're going with JV on that one. No disrespect to Jonas Valanciunas, also a big friend of the show here. I digress. That's all the time we have. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Also, check out the best bets we have up for this game. And we're coming back to you every single playoff game, as I am continuing to say. So until we see you next, happy betting.